All right, so you're climbing over ladders that are tied together with fishing string, 28,000 feet in the air, some crazy shit. What moment was the most dangerous on this trek for you? I mean, realized danger. So maybe the walking across the ladders wasn't the danger. Maybe like tell us about a time that, something happened with the ladder or something like that that was
Hmm.
actually put you in real danger, not this could be dangerous if I slipped or something.
Yeah, I would say there's probably a handful, and we can go through, for example, like the ice fall. Um, the ladders themselves are extremely dangerous because you're clipped in, but that's kind of more of a mental thing. It's really not going to help you from anything. If you fall, you fall, and that's the way it is. And you hope that the rope catches you enough, and the anchors to the ladders don't pop out and fall into the crevasse with you. And a perfect example was after one of our rotations, we got back to base camp, and one of my teammates was a Brazilian guy, and he said to me, Al, he showed me this video because there was a magazine and some newspapers back in Brazil that were following his expedition because it's pretty rare for a Brazilian person to go climb Everest as well. And he shows me this video of these two Sherpas that were crossing the ladder in the ice fall, and they fell right through and they just disappeared. And he goes, I said to him, I said, Gilberto, we crossed those exact same ladders about 6 hours ago. Why did I not fall in? Why did you not fall in? Both of us weighed twice as much as the guys that did fall in. So why did they fall in? Right? It was again that Russian roulette, right place, right time, wrong place, wrong time. And so that kind of
Wow.
hits home right away because you're like, I've walked across the ladder 3 times or 4 times already. And why did those guys were the unfortunate ones to punch through, right?
Right.
That was one. The avalanche, obviously, after the fact, after I was scrambling to film it, and I got a little bit of the footage of again having to be Gilberto who was in front of me in that situation. He looks back into the camera just freaking out, and so that kind of was a wake up call where it's like, okay, that was really really dangerous. Luckily, it turned out well. Um, then there was another time I was in the ice fall and I was climbing up and over the Serac because we had this massive collapse that happened after our first rotation. And what happened was it wiped out the whole route. So now you're trying to find a new route through, going over these Jenga blocks that just fell over. And, again, massive blocks the size of buildings and houses and stuff. So crevasses are covered up superficially by blocks of ice that you can't see and things like that. So we're route finding, and I'm climbing up on one of these seracs, and all of a sudden it blew out. The actual serac gave out on my foot, and I fell. And luckily I was clipped in and I fell only about 15 feet. But again, that could have been a pretty bad situation. And again, that's something you also see in one of the films. So, and then we got higher up on the mountain. And then when we got up to on our summit night, I'm all by myself. It was just me and Ryan climbing out from Camp 4. Now we're jumping, essentially, oh gosh, 10, 15,000 feet in altitude here, but we're climbing up and we're climbing in the middle of the night up this steep section called the Triangular Face to get to this area called the Balcony, which is a kind of a famous landmark on Everest, which is where the border of Nepal and China, or Nepal and Tibet, however you want to look at it, is actually the international border on this ridge that then you take to the summit, all the way to the summit. Well, I'm climbing with just Ryan by ourselves, heading out, and then all of a sudden the sun starts to rise out of Tibet, and I just stopped. I said, I want to film this, but more importantly, I want to take in the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen from 27,000 and about 300 feet that I've ever witnessed in my life. And so I just stopped there. I'm all by myself, and I'm watching this massive orange glow blow up over the Tibetan plateau, hit the fourth highest mountain in the world. That's called Lhotse, and the fifth highest mountain, Makalu. And I'm just watching this orange glow. And then I see this weird looking rock in the distance and about probably 15 feet away from me. And as more of the sun started to rise, I realized that wasn't a rock because it started turning from black to red. And then I realized it was a dead body. And that body was wearing the exact same down suit that I'm wearing. So it looked like me staring at myself there dead in the snow. And I had this weird thought, and you're very hypoxic at this time. So it's almost like drinking a martini. Every 1,000 feet is like drinking another martini. So you're very somewhat disoriented at this altitude. And I'm staring at this dead body in the snow, and I'm thinking, wow, why is it him and not me? Who is this guy? Started racing my head. What's the backstory? Why is he laying there dead? Alex, don't stop. Keep, because a lot of times if you sit down, you never get back up. just stay focused, 3 feet ahead, keep going, keep going. You can do this. Just keep lying to yourself. You can do this, keep going. And that was a very scary moment because it went from a very serene moment of the most beautiful thing you can imagine to something that just hits you square in the face, which is a dead body. It looks just like you laying there in the snow. So there was quite a few of those scenarios where you just get hit with these moments that you can't plan for, that you maybe didn't expect, and then you just have to deal with it.